Hello, John. Today we're going to talk about your favourite poets, writers in general. We're going to talk about literature and famous people in Ireland. So the first one we talk about is Jonathan Swift. Jonathan wrote a famous book.
He did. His most famous book, and he did many piece of literature, but was Gulliver's Travels. That was his most famous book. But there was one item that I particularly liked when he was speaking about a garden, any garden. And what he said was, the kiss of the sun for pardon, the song of the bird for mirth, the song of the birds for mirth. You're nearer to God's heart in the garden than anywhere else on earth. So he was a rector, I think, or not a rector, a dean of St. Patrick's Cathedral in Dublin. But he was also a great observer and of the human nature, particularly the Irish psyche. So he had marvellous, what they call it, he had marvellous sort of insight into the character of people. So that's what I admire about Jonathan Swift, his observation of human nature.
Okay.
Like C.S. Lewis.
And what about Oliver Goldsmith?
Well, Oliver Goldsmith was from near Ballyman in County Longford. As a matter of fact, I came across where he was reputed to be born in an area near Ballyman. And there's a statue to him, or there's a little area devoted to his record in that particular area. And I advise and suggest that people should visit that area, particularly people from abroad that would be interested in Oliver Goldsmith. As a matter of fact, he was Sir Oliver Goldsmith. His father was a curate, or not a curate, a vicar in that particular parish near Ballyman. Now, he wrote the famous poem that we were taught in secondary school, the village schoolmaster. And one of the phrases in it was that this small head could carry all it knew. So when one was doing one's secondary education, it kind of was a great observation of what one encountered, that the knowledge that teachers had, that we were all trying to absorb as 14, 15 and 16-year-olds, learning all about the like of Oliver Goldsmith and the village schoolmaster. We had to learn it and describe it, and not alone him but Shakespeare and all the rest of it. However, it's Oliver Goldsmith that I admired.
Okay. What about Sean D Sheridan? You mentioned that he was one of your favourites also?
He was. He was a writer in the 50s and 60s. He wrote novels. One of them gave a great insight into what life might be like in Ireland in the civil service in 1950s Dublin and Ireland, called The Magnificent MacDarney. It's a book that if anyone wished to have an insight into what the mindset of people were like at that time, that's a book that the person could read and get a great insight into the way people looked at things. The Magnificent MacDarney. It's quite humorous as well. And also he wrote a column in the Irish Independent every Saturday. And as a matter of fact, it was one of the best columns in that paper, and people, my father included, bought the paper purely to read John D Sheridan's articles. They were quite humorous and a great observer of the Irish humour and nature at the time.
I think everybody enjoys a bit of humour.
And Dublin Opinion also was a very good magazine that was along the same lines as what John D Sheridan was writing about. So we were well served with humour, even though materially Ireland was maybe not as successful as it appears to be today. But people were very content and free.
You mentioned, and I've never heard of this person, Canon Sheehan.
Yeah, Canon Sheehan was a novelist was a parish priest in Doonerail, County Cork. He was a marvellous writer and novelist and great stories, and there again gave an insight in the 1800s into the practice of the Catholic faith in that neck of the woods in Ireland, and the same replicated perhaps throughout the country. He wrote various books, but one that could be recommended and a great insight again into what life was like in those times was My New Curate. He was very popular in the USA, in Britain, and certainly in Ireland, and throughout the world, throughout the English-speaking world. We don't hear of him today, but I certainly could recommend anyone to read My New Curate and to learn a bit about Canon Sheehan of Doonerail, County Cork.
And that concludes our talk on your favourite writers and poets. Thank you very much, John.
Thank you very much.